Daf Chof Beis Amud Aleph. We'll begin Daf Chof Aleph Amud Beis, 9 lines from the bottom. Continue on with the description of the woven items in the Beis Hamikdash. One pasuk says, describing the woven items, it says, it says that it was the work of a roikem, of an embroiderer, someone who embroiders things. But later the pasuk says Masechet. It describes it as a Masechet, as a designer, the work of a designer. What's the shlit between the two? Masechet parts of echad. The work, when it says a roikem, an embroiderer, it has one face, meaning on the pareches, it has a design on a face on one side of it, and not on the other side of it, not on the other side of the pareches. Masechet shnei partzufos. By Masechet, it has a design, it has a face, the image, on two sides. So what does that mean? Rabbi Yehuda ben Nechemia. So they have a machlokes what this means. Chada Amar, it says Masechet. When it says Masechet, it's Ari Mikan v'chalak Mikan. It means that there's a lion on one side, the image of a lion on one side. On the other side, it's blank. It has no image. Masechet, Ari Mikan, Bari Makan. It has a line on both sides. B'charan the other one says Masechet. No, it's Ari Mikan, Bari Makan. It's not blank on the other side. It has the same image on both sides. Masechet, it's Ari Mikan, v'nesha Mikan. On one side is a lion, and the other side of it has the image of an eagle. So it doesn't mean that on one side there is an image, on the side is blank. It means Masechet, there was an image, the same image on both sides. By the Masechet, there was a different image. There was a lion and an eagle. Bishmeinu Shtayim Ribo Haisa Nasas, the Mishnah continues, says the parech was made from 20,800 dinarim, and it had 300 kohanim that were needed to be toivel. Rabbi Yisrael Bar Bislam B'Shem Rav Shmuel Guzmei says that's a Guzma exaggeration. It didn't really need literally 300 kohanim to be toivel. The Ramban learns is that the Guzma that it's referring to is the 20,800 gold dinarim that it costs. That's what the Guzma is referring to. Where it says Taman Tanina, we learned in the Mishnah in the Seches Talmud. Is regarding the ashes that were in the by the top of the mizbeach. The amount of the ashes sometimes was so much from all the burning of the karbonos that sometimes there was 300 core of ashes on it. So in a similar vein, the Gemara says Rav Yossi Bar Rebbeinu B'Shem Shmuel, he says Guzma. Similarly, he says that's also an exaggeration. Zok the Mishnah. So we're discussing the burning of the meat of korbanos that became tomei. Koche kochim, if you have the korbanos koche kochim, if there was a psul in the korban that burnt in the azora, what about the case where the meat becomes tomei? So Zok the Mishnah Besar Koche Kadoshim Shinitma, we have the meat of the Hachikam that became Tomei, Bain Ba'avatuma, Bain Vladatuma, whether it became Tomei with an Avatuma, the primary source of Tuma, or a Vladatuma, or a derived Tuma. We'll see in the Gemara, we'll discuss, does this mean the Vladatuma, are we talking about a Tuma Deraisa or Derabanan? The Gemara will discuss that. But whether it's with an avatum or a vladatuma, bein b'fnim, bein b'chutz, whether it became tomei in the azora or outside the azora, in all these cases, Beis Shammai says, Aimrim b'shem haramim, I call you saraf b'fnim. You burn them all inside the azora, chutz mishanitna ba'avatuma b'chutz, with the exception of the case where it became tomei with an avatuma and also outside. There, you don't bring it inside to be burnt. You burn it outside. But all the other cases, Beis Shammai says, you burn it inside. That's a sheet of Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel, Beis Hillel says, I call you sar b'chutz. Yes, I know. In all cases, you burn it outside, chutz mishen nitma v'ladatuma v'fnim, unless you have both milas, that it's nitma only with a vladatuma, and it's nitma bifnim, the source is bifnim. So if it's nitma with a vlada tuma, it's a lesser degree of tuma. And the place that it's in, it became tummy, is inside, you burn it there inside. You don't have to take it out. But Beis Hillel says, in all other cases, whether if the source of the tuma is a more chomerdik tuma, it's an avatuma, and if it became tummy outside, then in all these cases, you don't bring it in. If it became tummy outside, you don't bring it in. If it has a chomerdik tuma, you have to take it out. And you certainly can't bring it in. So the Beis Shammai says you can only burn it inside if you have both reasons to say that it's a lesser degree. Number one, the lesser degree of Tumah, and also it already became Tomei inside, then you can burn it inside, otherwise outside. Beis Shammai says you burn it in all cases inside, except the case where you have both reasons to say not to burn it inside. It's a higher degree of Tumah, and it became Tomei outside. So that's the shita Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, he says, Shenitma b'avatuma became Tomei with avatuma, bein b'fnim, bein b'chutz, yisarav b'chutz. He says the only consideration is the degree of Tumah. If it's an avatuma, and no matter where it became Tomei, you burned it outside. Shenitma v'lada tuma, when it became Tomei with a v'lada tuma, bein b'chutz, bein b'fnim, doesn't matter where it became Tomei, yisarav b'fnim. If it's a lesser degree of Tumah, you burn it inside. Rabbi Kiva, he says, Mokam tumosa shams reifasa. Rabbi Kiva says, wherever it became Tomei, that's where you burn it. So the only issue is the place of the Tumah, not the degree, not the severity of the Tumah. Rabbi Eliezer says it's the severity of the Tumah. It's an avatuma outside, lavatuma inside. Doesn't matter where it became Tomei. And Rabbi Kiva says, no, the only determinant is where it became Tomei. If it became Tomei inside, you burn it inside, outside, outside. So the Gemara bar kapara omar avatuma devar teira vladatuma divreim. When we speak of an avatuma, we're referring to tuma derais. A vladatuma, when we say vladatuma, now vladatuma could be a deraisa digatuma. It could be that, for instance, a zav touched the keli, and the keli touched the meat, which would be a tuma deraisa, or it could be, alternatively, it could be a tuma derabona. It could be a vlada tuma where the mashka that was tomei, not a zav and not a mayan of a zav, a mashka that was tomei, tom is mitama the kli, that's mitama midarabanan. It makes it a rishon midarabanan and it makes the basar a sheni midarabanan. So Bar Kamara says when we speak in the mission of a vlada tuma, even though strictly speaking the term could refer to either a derais or derabanan, but in the context of this mission, the vlada tuma means a tuma derabanan. Rav Yochanan Amar bein bezeh, he says dvar Torah. He says, and we're talking about an avatuma, the vlada tuma, they're both derais tumas. It's just a higher level and a lower level, but they're both deraisas now. More says V'kasha the Rav Yochanan, the Beis Shammai. The shita of Rav Yochanan is difficult to understand. Number one, we have a kasha on Beis Shammai. The Beis Shammai, they say everything's burnt inside except an avatuma if it became tomei through an avatuma outside. So ma bein avatuma b'chutz, ma bein vladatuma b'chutz. What's the difference if it's an avatuma b'chutz or a vladatuma? Just like you're saying that if it's a avatuma b'chutz, you don't bring it inside. Well, if the vladatuma we're talking, it means a vlad, it's a deraisa, so it's also deraisa digatuma. So just like with an avatuma, you don't take it from outside, bring it in. Similarly, with a vlad, it should make no difference. Aren't they both deraisa? They're both deraisa digatuma, so it should make no difference. So that's one kasha. Now, v'afilal the Beis Hillel aloy mekasha, and isn't it a kasha also in Beis Hillel? The Beis Hillel amar kol yisarach b'chutz. They say everything is burned outside. Chutz mashen nitma b'vlada tuma b'fnim, except what was nitma with a vlada tuma inside. Otherwise, everything is burned outside. But if it's a vlada tuma inside, you burn it inside. Now, if the vlada tuma is a deraisa, then you have the kasha ma bein vlada tuma b'fnim, ma bein avatuma b'fnim. What's the difference of a vlada tuma b'fnim or an avatuma b'fnim? They're both deraisas. Just like the avatuma b'fnim, you say that you take it out. With the Vlada Tuma, you should say the same thing. Aren't they both derises? So therefore, we don't understand the Shita of Rav Yochanan. Now, the Rabbanan, we're dealing with the Shita of Bar Kapara, who says that the Vlada Tuma is the Rabbanan. The Rabbanan, we're discussing only the Shita of Bar Kapara. The Kasha, the Bar Kapara, the Beis Shammai. But there's a Kasha even on the Shita Bar Kapara on the Shita Beis Shammai, because the Beis Shammai everything is burnt inside unless it is became Tomei with an avatuma outside. Ma bein avatuma bein bechutz bein bifnim. What's the difference if it's an avatuma? It's a deraisa tikatuma. What's the difference if it's inside or outside? In both cases, the chayru should say burn it outside. Aren't they both deraisa? Our answer begin the Rabbi Kiva Amar. However, Beis Shammai hold that just like Rabbi Kiva says, also the place where it became Tomei, that's where you burn it. Now they also hold to that principle, they also subscribe to that principle, not to the extent that Rabbi Kiva does, but to this extent that they do. That if it became Tomei with an avatuma, that if it became Tomei inside, you burn it inside. If it became Tomei outside, you burn it outside. They also hold to this principle that you burn it in the place that it became Tomei. However, they argue with Rabbi Kiva because they hold, Beis Shammai holds that if it became Tomei with a Vlada Tuma, then we don't say that the Mokom to Mosa Sham Tzrifasa. If it was burned outside, we don't say you burn it outside, you can bring it in. Rabbi Kiva says you burn it outside. Now, Beis Shammai holds that Legabe the Din Deraisa, it's not even considered Tomei because the Vlad, as we mentioned, we're talking about is a Tumah D'Rabbanan. So, Kalapi the Din Deraisa is considered like it hasn't become Tomei. So, it's therefore not a case of bringing Tomei inside, and therefore we treat it as a regular psul, not a Talmudic psul, a psul of Yaitse, for instance. It's a psul of Yaitse that we say you burn it in the Azor, and therefore the din Rabbanan we don't say that the place of the tumah is a streifa. L'gabe an tumah we say it. Rabbi Kiva says it l'gabe both l'gabe the av and the vlad. V'afilo the Beis Hillel lo'maksha. Now, for the Gemara, even according to the Shita Beis Hillel, isn't what Bar Kavar is saying doesn't come out to be a kasha. The Beis Hillel Amra Kol Yisarach B'chutz. Beis Hillel says everything is burnt outside, chutz, with the exception of Shenit Ma B'Vlada Tuma B'Fnim, unless it's a Vlada Tuma and B'Fnim. So Ma Bein Vlada Tuma Bein B'Fnim Bein B'chutz. Well, what's the difference if the Vlada Tuma is a D'Rabbanan Tikadin? So what difference does it make? That if it's a Vlada Tuma, whether it became Tomei inside or outside, it's a Vlada Tuma, it's a Tuma D'Rabbanan. So what should be the difference between the two? Aren't both these cases D'Rabbanan Tikadinim? More answers begin to Rabbi Shimon Amar because they hold like Rabbi Shimon says, that the food and the drink of a Mitzayer are sent out outside the three machnas. I mean, just like the Mitzayra is sent out of the three machnas, the food is also. And as the Tiklan Charatan and other Meforshim explain, it doesn't mean only literally that it's sent out, I mean it's not brought in. And it means in all cases of what the Mitzayra is Matama, even a Tumah D'Rabbanan, you don't bring Tumah D'Rabbanan into the Azara. So they hold that no Tumah is brought into the Zara, not even a Tumah D'Rabbanan. The only case where you burn it in the Zora, where it's a Tumah D'Rabbanan, and that's where it became Tomei.